APC National Chairman Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje has threatened a legal action against Enugu State Independent Electoral Commission for recognizing a faction led by Alphonsus Nwafor, which does not include the Ugochukwu Agballah-led group. Ganduje accused ENSIEC of engaging with unauthorized individuals as APC representatives and violating party and national laws. He asserted that Agballah is the legitimate APC chairman for Enugu State and warned ENSIEC to cease its action or face a lawsuit. What is your take on this story?
Yes, my take on this story is very clear. I will start by advising the APC in Enugu State to play by the rules. You see, the major problem why electionary processes keep attracting lawsuits is because political leaders have refused to play by the rules. The National Working Committee of the APC have a recognized, certified, led executive in the state. And you see, a different thing is playing out. There are factions in the state, and the Electoral Commission, which ordinarily should confer with the national body of the party, on which is the recognized or lawfully certified executive. You see, they are pinching tent already with a faction. That is really wrong. That is a steps in a very wrong direction that is capable of bringing disagreement and finally leading to a lawsuit. So it is hardly advised that politicians should play by the rules, more especially an electoral commission which ordinarily should encourage sanity in the system. It's recognizing a faction. In my own opinion as a lawyer, I think it is a very wrong move. They should desist from that and confer with the national body on which is the proper state-led ESCO.
Now, would one say that ENSIEC, like you said, is supposed to be neutral, a neutral party in party affairs, right, conducting elections? Now, with this take by ENSIEC at this point, would one say that ENSIEC is compromised, as it were, pitching a tent with a particular faction? Would one accuse ENSIEC of compromise?
Yes, at this point, because they have already shown steps that are questionable. So if the electorates accuse them of compromise, they wouldn't be doing the wrong thing, because ENSIEC have already shown that steps, and the steps are against the people. That is what it means. So my advice at this point is ENSIEC should put a hold to whatever action or inaction they have embarked on, refer to the National Working Committee for a proper direction. So at the end of the day, there will be hitch-free election in Enugu.
Do you actually see that playing out? Because when you look at, there's been accusations and counter-accusations of state electoral commissions, you know, playing, being minions or stooges to probably the executive or to certain interest, vested interest in the state, as it were. Now, with all these accusations and counter-accusations, one would wonder, what is the guarantee of these elections, one, being free and fair? You would agree with me also that I think on my show we have discussed severally where state electoral commissions conduct elections and the ruling party sweeps the entire polls. And there have been calls for scrapping of the State Electoral Commission. And on the other hand, people who are against that call are like, even INEC has not guaranteed free and fair election across the states and in the country. What is your take? What is the way forward in this particular issue?
Yes, it has become a norm in our country that electionary processes lack credibility, you know, whenever the results are declared. In fact, from the campaign time to other electionary activities leading to the conduct of elections in Nigeria. We have seen situations where, you know, that lackluster attitude have led to the people not to have confidence on the electoral commissions. Then the worst of it all is the local government elections. That is the worst of it all in the country. There has never been a free, fair, credible local government election in Nigeria because it is always a selection process.
Okay,
a selection process and not an election per se. The governors in their various states do hijack these elections, even though they make it look democratic. You know, it is corruption personified.
So what's the way forward at this
The way forward is this. We know that the Independent National Electoral Commission have its own lapses. You know, technologically and manpower, corruption. You know, there are so much vices surrounding the electionary processes in Nigeria. But the truth is, we cannot get it right if the Electoral Act is not properly reviewed and the Constitution is not rejigged. We cannot have free, fair, credible election in Nigeria. Not to talk of what is happening in the local governments, where you see the governor sits in his government house, write these names and submit to whomever becomes the chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission in that state. So, in my own opinion, I will advocate that powers to conduct elections, local government elections in Nigeria should be reverted to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Do you see that?
Yeah,
even
though we cannot guarantee that will bring in sanity in the system, but to an extent, it will improve the credibility of local government
the level
elections.
Of influence
the level
at
of
the federal
influence
level will be drastically reduced.
Yes, of course. I don't see any reason why the presidency will be interested
in... That's the next question.
No, I don't see
federal invested interest now play out? Because now we are now leaving the state to move to the federal.
We will not rule out the fact that here in Nigeria, elections lack credibility. And people in power do have influences over who sits at a particular position or the other. But if you revert the elections, the local government elections back to Independent National Electoral Commission, I think the sanity will improve. It will not be the usual carry-go thing. This is my opinion. And if that is done, I can bet you that the least opposition parties will have people in power. But in this case,
now it will not be
in
a
this
function
case,
of the
governor, the party the governor belongs, sweeps everything. It's just a norm in the system. So to revert that trend, to add more credibility, to add a little fairness, even though we know it is difficult to have a credible, fair election in Nigeria. But I think INEC conducting local government elections in Nigeria we will have a better local government elections.